Hello, and welcome to today's puzzle. Puzzle time again with Sudoku Sleuth here with you. And we have a puzzle that looks surprisingly similar to another one that we have actually solved recently. So I was a little bit hesitant to select it, but when you come across a puzzle that's rated above 85%, you really don't want to pass it up. It really just speaks to the quality of the puzzle and the solve, and I'm really looking forward to what we have today. So enough said about that. Actually, one more thing. You may have noticed in the shorts that I have now republished, there is music once again. I cannot claim that I have composed it myself. It is a classical piece that I've just played myself and essentially recorded so that there's a little bit of background music rather than a completely dry short video for you. Hope you enjoy it and it adds just a little bit of extra spice to those videos as well and that you're enjoying them. Well, enough about the channel and other videos. Let's take a look at what we have for today's puzzle. So, today we have a Coloring Conundrum by Lapazhu. Apologies for the pronunciation if I got this particularly wrong. But you can see that it is once again an XV puzzle. And it is an XV puzzle with a Kropki dots. So I think it's only been a couple of days since we actually did Colorado 2, and I imagine the solve for this is going to end up being very similar. Now, what I'm hoping though is it won't be as difficult. Essentially, this one has been given a 1 out of 5 difficulty rating, whilst Colorado 2, which you can see me at the very end struggling trying to figure out what the digits are, had a rating of I think 2 out of 5. So this hopefully will be a little bit simpler. And for those of you that are a little bit intimidated by the solve for Colorado 2, this should be a little bit more straightforward. With that said, let's take a look at the rules that we have for today. So normal Sudoku rules apply, which means digits 1 through to 9 in every row, every column, and indeed every box. We're all familiar with those by now. XV digits separated by an X sum to 10, such as these dominoes or that domino or that domino. This puzzle is truly littered with X's and V's, and digits separated by a V, such as this one or these two, must sum up to 5. Now, quite important here is all X's and V's are given. So negative constraints apply, and I imagine that will be very useful as we continue with the puzzle today. Particularly if you look down here, for example, it's not obvious where the V's are, but the negative constraints will probably play a role to actually figure out where some of the low digits must be. One more rule that we have is consecutive Kropki. You can see down here, these are the only consecutive Kropkis that we have. Cells separated by a white dot contain consecutive digits, and not all such white dots are given. So the negative constraints only applies for the XVs, but not for the Kropkis. Another useful piece of information to know. Now, those of you that frequently visit this channel will be familiar that we are often solving Sudoku variant puzzles, such as the one that we have here today. And with those constraints, those additional rules, it allows us to solve often puzzles that have 0 digits in the grid, such as the one that we have here today. So I'm really looking forward to today's puzzle. If you want to play along, link will be in the description down below as per usual. And with that said, let's restart the clock and see how we got on. So those of you that have seen other XV videos from me by now know that first thing that I always do is essentially color all the V's that are in the grid. Because we know that these 2 digits have to add up to 5. Therefore, they can only be from the digits 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in fact, we'll come on to that in a second. This can only be a 1-4 pair or a 2-3 pair, and you're not going to be able to mix them in any other way. Let's see if we can keep on coloring the rest of this grid. And yeah, there is a lot of X's and V's all the way throughout this puzzle. And have I missed any V's? Nothing stands out, but I will certainly come back to it if I need to. Now, I've deliberately chosen blue to demonstrate low or cool on a thermometer. And then what I often do is come in and essentially color what is obviously a high digit, as in above 5, red. So if this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, this has to be from 6, 7, 8, or 9 to be able to add up to 10. And note in all of these, I'm excluding the digit 5 because 5 would need to be joined with a 0 to add up to 5, or 5 would need to be joined with another 5 in the same box to add up to 10. So clearly no 5s on any X or V dominoes. And we can color a lot of these, and there you go. We're left with one unknown cell that I'm going to color gray. This one will be the 5. What else can we do in here? So all of these are high, therefore this is low to be able to add up to 10, given this is a high digit. We also know that this is high, and I think for the moment these are the obvious highs for now. I'm going to say yes, these are the obvious highs for now. I can't see anything else that stands out. You know, obviously we need to figure out which ones are high and low in that, and we'll get onto that in a moment. So let's take a look at that set of dominoes actually. So you can see in the row, we've got 4 blue digits, which means we're all done for blue. This cell therefore has to be red. There can only be 4 cells in a row that are from the digits 1, 2, 3, and 4. We've used them all up. Therefore, the only thing that's left is 5, or which cannot be on an X, or a red digit. And therefore, that's blue, that's red. Anywhere else that's obvious? Not necessarily. So we've got another red and blue cell in here, which means this is the other 5. This 5 eliminates 5 from this cell, so this is the other 5, and that's red to complete the box. You can see we've got 4 blues in the column, therefore this is red and this is red, and therefore these two are blue. We know that there is a 5 in here joined with a red cell, therefore this is not 5. So we need another blue in essence to complete this box. So that's the blue, that's the 5. Therefore, that's not the 5, that's the remaining red cell in that box, and that's the 5 in here. We've got a blue and a red in here, which essentially we've got 3 blues, 3 reds, joined with another blue and red to make it 4. So that's the 5 in this box, that's the high digit in this box. We are all done here. So we've got a red. I'm just gonna use a flash for a second, just to make sure that I don't have to remember all of this. So that's red. We've got 4 blues in the column. That's blue, therefore. We've got 3 blues in the column. Therefore, this is blue. That's all 4 blues done in this box. So that's red, that's blue, that's red. And we have a red-gray cell in here, which I imagine we'll be able to disambiguate in a second. In fact, column 8, which I didn't finish, this is gray, that's not gray, that's gray, that's not gray, and that's gray. Have I actually placed all the 5s at this point? I think the answer is yes, I have. So I'm gonna, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's all 5s. Now the 5 is either joined by 2 blues. For now that appears, that's actually not possible, because we still need a blue, which we actually can place. We've got 4 in this row, so therefore this is red, this is blue. So we've got 3 blues, and these 2 cannot be blue. So if this is 5, this could be 4, 3. Clearly you can't go 5, 4, and then back up to 5, because that would repeat the 5. So this is either 2 blues, which it can't be because that would add up to 5 blues in the column, or reds. And this is blue to finish it up. That's 4 blues in the row. These are red. This is blue. This is blue to finish the box. This is red to finish the row. And this is blue to finish the box. And that's the entire grid already colored with lows, highs, and 5s. Now we can take this a step further. And if you've seen me do this in another puzzle before, this should be very familiar to you by now. So what I do is essentially pick one set to be green and the other set to be blue. And if you remember what I said before, either this is 1, 4 or 2, 3, but we're not mixing them together. You can't have 1 and 2 add up to 5. You cannot have 3 and 4 add up to 5. So if this is green, these two have to be blue. Therefore, this has to be green, and so does this cell. I think the negative constraints are going to come to the rescue in a second, because I spotted one already. So let's take a look at this cell. I'm going to say this cell cannot be green, because it's either, if it is green, it's either the same cell as this one, not possible, or it's the counter cell of this green, and therefore you would need to have a 5 in here. So this absolutely has to be blue, and therefore the one next to it absolutely has to be green. Otherwise, again, you would have a V in here, and we do not. This blue eliminates, no, that wasn't a V. Shouldn't jump too quickly to conclusions just there. Let's see what else we can place. These are definitely blue. This is definitely blue. Therefore, this is definitely green, because we need 2 greens in every row. And that's green, that's blue. Therefore, that's green. This has to be blue. Otherwise, same issue here where this would have to be connected with a V. Therefore, we've got 2 blues. Therefore, this is green, and that's the 2 greens that we need in this box. So which box have we not done yet? We're all good up on, and essentially this upper 2/3 of the grid. Let's look down here. These two have to be blue. We've got greens in the top. Therefore, this has to be green. Greens are done on row 7. Let's take a look at row 8. These have to be blue because of this column. Therefore, these are greens. Greens are done now in row 8, and we're left with row 9. That's blue. That's definitely blue. That's the remaining green cell. And now we should have 2 blues and 2 green in every box, every row, every column, and that appears to be the case. It doesn't look like I've made a mistake anywhere. Just right. So next thing that I will do is essentially use the pen lettering tool, which you can enable in this software by just going to the options and clicking Enable Pen Letter Tool. I'm going to actually use, rather than center pencil marking, just going to go straight in and essentially just label all of these. And I'm just picking at random what they are. What I typically do is I use A and D kind of as if it's a synonym for 1 and 4. Obviously, I don't know what they are. The mapping of this will need to figure out, I suspect, with these 2 cells, because we know this will be a 6, this will be a 7. But critically, before we fill in these as 6 and 7, we need to understand what they are, as in what letters they are. So a B will be joined with an H, a C will be joined with a G, D will be joined with an F, and A will be joined with an I. The order of these doesn't really matter as long as you're consistent. So whatever B it is, as long as it's always joined by an H with an X, it really doesn't matter what they will be. So we have to place a G in here. We don't know what these are just yet. That's C, that's B, that's H, D, F, A, I, G. H here means that's got to be the same number. So that's B, H, C, G. We know that's an A because D is taken. That's I. This is C and B. H, B, C, G, B, H. You can see how quickly you are able to fill this in once you get going, or you stick to sort of this consistent application of the letters. So that's the remaining F in here. That's got to be a D with an F. We need to still place F down there. Therefore, this cannot be an A. You can see how this is, sorry, this has to be an A, not a D. Because if it is a D, this would have to be with an X. So that's A, I, D, Therefore, this is D and A. I mean, it was obvious that this is the D because the F was already placed, but no matter. We have a C, G, G, C, B, H, C, B, D and A, D, F, I. We need to place the remaining 4, so we still have all 4 available. So F and H are taken, so we need G and I. G has to be in here, I has to be in there. This is an, made a mistake in here, that's an H. This is an F to complete this row, and this is an H to complete the box. And one more that I haven't completed, this is an I. So, as if by magic, now we know G's have to be 6, because it's adjacent to the 5. So that's a 6. That's a 7. We know that the 7 is joined by 3's to make up 10. Therefore, this has to be a 2 to add up to 5. F's have to be 8s to allow that to be a 10. What else have I got already completed? 6, you can see the C therefore has to be the 4. The B's have to be the 1, the H's, and I've not made any mistakes, 9's, and we're done. 12 minutes 40, and that's the solution for today's puzzle. Once again, Lapazhu, I mean, it's a phenomenal puzzle, you know, with a very straightforward solution, and I think the coloring conundrum bit very much gives you a clue on how you should go about solving these types of puzzles. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and I look forward to having you back again tomorrow. But this time, I'm going to deliberately avoid going with another XV puzzle. What I'm thinking about is, over the past couple of weeks, I've come across a lot of 6x6 puzzles that typically are very quick to solve. So what I'm planning to do is essentially maybe collate a few of them into a single video. So please tune in for tomorrow's solve, and I hope you enjoy them as well. Bye for now.